Hey guys, here's part 3 of our head-up display tutorial. So this is what we've got so far from parts 1 and 2. We've created this, and we've got this random movement here that we did that in the last part of our tutorials. And what we're going to be doing in this one is adding in a needle type indicator which will flicker around this gauge here, and then we'll also add in some text. So we'll get our line tool, and we're going to draw a line which will be approximately the right length that we need, so it'll be something like that. And then we're also going to want a small circle, so let's grab our circle tool and hold down the shift key. We'll drag out a small circle. So let's start off with the circle here, and we'll center it on the screen. Let's zoom in a little bit. Okay, so now we've centered that. What we want to next do is center our line so the end of it is also in the middle of that circle there. So we've got something like this. It's not quite centered up, so it needs to move a little bit to the right. Let's make sure we've got a line selected. Maybe a fraction more. Okay, we'll just go to our positions here. No, okay. So now we've got that in place, and you can see that these are also now in their own group here. So let's call this the indicator group. So there's our center circle and our line. All right. Now we may want to say thicken up the edge of this circle a little bit, so we'll come to our width here. Let's just increase that a tad. Okay, and then I'm going to add also to here our chalk hard. Let's add it to our line here. So we've got that slightly broken up type light effect again here. I'm just going to edit these parameters slightly. Open up our spacing and our width a little bit. Okay, so there we go. Now we have our needle indicator put into place. Now again, I want to animate this, so it's going to spin around. Oh, you can also see here, made a mistake. My playhead was here, so you can see when you create an object, it creates it actually at the playhead there. So let's just adjust that. We'll go back over to our indicator group, and we'll hit I with our playhead, and that should bring everything forward a little bit for us. Okay. Now I want to animate this onto the screen also. So let's say probably starting here. So let's go to our line, and we'll go to the last point offset, drag that back to 0, add a keyframe. Let's come forward about 4 frames, and we'll drag that up. So that animates up onto the screen. Let's maybe move that out a little bit, so it takes a little bit longer to come on the screen. There we go. Okay, and then we also want our dot to appear at the same time. So let's also scale that up. So we'll come to our circle, and we'll go to our scale, add a keyframe, drag that down to 0. Let's come forward to where our needle is finished, and we'll drag the scale back up to 100%. So there we go. Now we've animated that onto the screen. And then we'll add the random movement to it. So we want to rotate this. We're going to have to move our anchor point down to here. It's already in place, I think. Let's just go over to our rotation. There we go. You see the anchor point is already actually in place for us on that circle. So this will then rotate around. Now, we want it to rotate around, but we don't want it to necessarily come over this edge here. So let's adjust our end point of that a little bit. So let's go to where it finishes animating out, which would be here. So let's adjust our endpoint of our line a little bit. Okay. It's good, all right. So now we'll add the randomization to our rotation again. So let's center that back up to 0 maybe, and then we'll come to our rotation. And we only want to rotate on one specific axis, which is the Z axis, I believe. Is that correct? Yeah. So we'll add the random motion to that. So we'll right click, add parameter behavior, randomize, and now when we drag around, you'll see that our needle flickers in the same way that we did with our gauge. So we're just going to adjust the amount a little bit. So it's a little bit too much. Let's go maybe to here, and we'll down our frequency and our noise a little bit. So there's our movement, random movement. Okay, so let's set our start point for this. It's going to be around here. You see how much flickering we're getting. So let's go back to our behavior and we'll increase the amount. Yeah. Okay, let's slow down the frequency a little bit. Decrease the amount. Okay, that's better. All right, so that's our indicator there, and needle taken care of. Now let's deal with the text. So what I want is I want to have something counting up to say 100%. So what I actually did was I created a text document here, and this text document, you can see each line has 1 up to 100%. Okay. So there's one going up to 100, and each different line. Now there's a generator here in motion which will basically read that text file and will display each line like once every couple of frames. So go over to our library. I think it's under generators and text generators, and you choose file. So this creates a text object using text from a file displaying one line at a time. So we'll drag that over into our screen here. Whoops, and again, need to put our file in and our file out point. Okay. So let's move that out of our group there. Let's put it into the parent group. Let's also so file, go to our inspector, browse, and want to get the text file that we're using, which would be on my desktop here, and 100. Okay, so speed constant, ease in, ease out, or decelerate, accelerate, whatever you want to do. So let's say I'm going to ease in, and let's check that out. So you can see now we're displaying these numbers. Now I want those numbers to start displaying after everything's on the screen. So let's wait for this all to be on the screen here. And so let's start generating those numbers around this point. So go over to our file and we'll hit I. So that will be our in point. That will be our first frame there. Let's edit our text parameters. So let's change the style. I'm happy with this font. Gives a nice kind of digital display type font. But I want to change the color. So we just change our face color. And let's do that also in this neon blue. Or maybe the red. Let's go for the red. Okay. So let's check this out now from the beginning. There we go. Now what I want to do is center up that text on the screen. It's a little bit off center. You probably want it around there. Okay. And there we have it. So there's our text being generated from a file, from the external file. That will count up to 100 for us, 100%, and There's our basic gauge all set up. So now let's view this, set full screen from the beginning. There we go, and you can see we got that ease in, so it starts off slowly and it begins to count up faster. So I think that's starting to really come together quite nicely now. In the next tutorial, we'll just be adding some glow and some brightness kind of filters to this, just to give it that glowing effect that we want it to have. And then that'll be it. Then it'll be ready for us to begin compositing and using in our video scenes. So I hope you find this tutorial useful. Head over to my blog. You can download project files from there, templates for Final Cut Pro and for Motion 5. It's all free to use. And subscribe to my YouTube channel, and please hit like on the video if this was of some use to you. It helps me out a lot. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.